वंशी विभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्ब फलाधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। ॐ श्रीकृष्णाय नमः. Welcome to the Friday scripture class, and it is being live telecast from Shelton, Connecticut in the US. And today's scripture class is Uddhava Gita. Uddhava Gita, as we are continuing for many months in many classes, it is the Sri Krishna's last message to Uddhava. From our textbook is the same name of the book, and they're translated by Swami Madhavananda. Today's verses are from page 119, chapter 8 of this. It is in the 11th skandha of Bhagavatam, we all know, and chapter 8 of 11th skandha of Bhagavatam. We know that we are continuing how Uddhava wanted to know how Sri Krishna taught to Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara the message of spirituality. So, Uddhava said, I want to know in which form you taught them. Because Sanak Sanatana were the rishis in the beginning of Brahma's creation, they were formed, the great yogis. When they created, they were the jnanis by birth and they didn't enter into samsara. And Sri Krishna is in the Dwapara Yuga, they were in the very Satya Yuga, when the creation had started, in the beginning of creation. So Uddhava said, I want to know about how you taught them so early. So Sri Krishna says, oh, I will tell you in what form I taught. He said, then he brings the story that when these mind-born son of Brahma were created through the meditation by Brahma, they had some spiritual questions. They were very spiritual by nature. They were all Mahayogis. So they had the spiritual question for the humanity. And their question, they went to Brahma and they asked him, this sense objects that you have created and the mind that have come from you through the prakriti that is there. So this sense objects and mind, they are very much connected with each other. And mind is very important to realize God. Mind has to be pure. Mind has to be given fully to God. And we, the human beings, have only mind as an instrument to reach. But that mind somehow is made in such a way that it gets attracted towards sense objects. And sense objects you have already created. Now they are such things that very attractive to each other. Sense objects influence the mind. Mind has the impression of the sense objects. So how can mind be freed from sense objects and the mind can think of God, or God realization will happen by utilizing the mind? That was the question to Brahma. Then Brahma thought and thought upon this question, how to separate the mind from the sense objects. But he could not find the answer to the question, what will make the mind separate from sense objects? Really, they are very complementary to each other. One thing cannot stay without other. When there is mind, sense, impression, liking, desires for sense objects will be there. And when there are sense objects, the mind, it has its influence on the mind. So how to make mind free from these? So he thought and thought, his own creation, the mind is his creation and sense objects are his creation. He could not get the answer to it. How to make mind free from sense objects? How to detach mind from the sense objects? How can mind can remain without sense objects? How can sense objects be there but they cannot influence the mind? How that is possible? He could not go to the root of this question. The verse says, he was busy in creation. So his mind was engaged in how to create one after another things. He created the Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and that was also not enough. He wanted all this universe to be filled with all creatures, all human beings, but they denied to have any procreation. They were so knowledge, so that for them the world was not something that they want to procreate and create more human beings. So there also it didn't happen. He has to do, Brahma has to do that thing. So Brahma was busy. He says, Karmadhi, he said to Brahma. Brahma is busy in meditating on the karma. So he had made karma like that, and then he's busy. So he says, I cannot find the answer to your question, but I will want it to be given by my creator. And who is the creator of Brahma? Creator of Brahma is Ishvara. Ishvara in the form of Vishnu. So he thinks of Ishvara, and then as the Brahma is so powerful intellect, Brahma is intellect himself. He is the creator, Hiranyagarbha. And he then when he thinks, one being comes there in front of them. That being is described by Sri Krishna as Hamsa. So Hamsa is the swan, but it says that swan, and when they saw someone, they all, Brahma, led by Brahma, they all went to this being. This was swan. By swan is not bird. By swan is not something of the avian family. It is the some wise person. Wise person is called Hamsa. Paramahamsa, we all know. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, we call. So Hamsa means the one who is wise and who can differentiate between the real and unreal, and always dwells in reality. So that is called Swan or Hamsa. So Hamsa, some wise person appeared before them. They all went there, the verse says. They all went there, led by Brahma, and they paid obeisance to his feet. So they touched his feet, and they showed the honor and full respect someone has come. So by their not, because they were so wise, they knew it is not ordinary human being. So it is some wise being has come to and to give us the knowledge of the question that Brahma could not do. Then, led by Brahma, they asked the question that was there. So first, before asking the question, they asked the first question, "Sir, who are you? Ko Bhavan iti? Who are you?" So that was the question asked to this Hamsa or wise person. Then this wise person said, "Your question is irrelevant." First, he struck on the for this question itself. They have not gone to the question that Kumara brothers had asked to Brahma. That is yet to come. So this Hamsa, God in the form of wise person, or Sri Krishna himself, the Ishvara himself in wise form, the wise person, he said, if you are asking me, who are you from the point of view of Atman or Jivatman, so this question is irrelevant because as Atman, we are all one. We are not separate from each other. So there is no question you can ask me, who are you? Because what you are, that I am in reality. There's no question of asking because they're wise person. So for Ishvara, who has come in the form of Hamsa, this question itself is irrelevant. If you are asking from the point of view of Atman, we are all one. It is all same reality. There's no separate from you. That question doesn't stand in this stage. And if you are asking from the point of view of Deha, from Jivatma, from Deha, that also doesn't stand because we are all one. We all are made of this body, is made up of all Panchabhuta. So there is no difference. When you ask, who are you? There has to be some separation between you and me. As body, we are all made of same element. As Atman, we are all same. Why this question comes? So once in Shankaracharya's life, it happened that way. So he was going to the Ganga. Shankaracharya has a little ego, pride of his Brahminism and his higher caste and all that. Though he was a sannyasi, he was a Paramahamsa, he was Purna Jnani. But still, that samskaras of his life in this Maya is always there. Maya is very powerful. Even to the Jnani, it may affect sometimes. So when they are unaware of that. So there was, when he was going through in the Varanasi, he was going, and one Chandala or one person of seemingly lower caste touched his body in the crowd. He happened to touch the body of Shankara. Shankara said, "What are you doing? Why did you touch me?" The Chandala, instead of asking him pardon or saying something, he said, "Why are you saying this question?" The Chandala said the same thing. Your question is irrelevant. If you are saying to me, who are you? Tell me first. If you are considering yourself as the Atman and myself as the Atman, so how can Atman touch Atman? Atman is one. There is no two Atman that one Atman touches another. So your question is not right question. And if you're asking from the point of view of body, that my body is lowly and you are pure and Brahmin, but body, what your body is made of, my body is also made of same thing. It's all made of a Panchabhuta, from Prithvi, Up, Teja, Marut, Vyom. So all these are the constituent elements of the body. So we are all one. Only form is different, but we are not different. From which angle you ask that question? Who are you? Why did you touch me? Who touched whom, sir? He asked. Shankara realized the question was really wrong, and this identification distinction was incorrect. He fell at the feet of that Chandala, because that Chandala was not Chandala. He was Shiva himself. He was Paramahamsa himself, who had come to teach to Shankara to make him get rid of his idea of lower and higher, of lower caste and higher caste, pure and impure. That should go from Shankara, who was full of the bhava of Shiva. Shiva himself was filled in Shankara. But little this thing was not there. It had come when he was not in Samadhi. This had come when he was in the realm of Maya. So that has to go from the life of Shankara, who has to deal and live like a brilliant cloudless sun. This is like the cloud coming little in the sun. Full light is not coming because of this ego of Brahminism, ego of sannyasin. So here Shiva came in the form of Chandala, and to who touched you? That question, why did you touch me? To who touched whom? And Shiva fell at the feet of Chandala. He was Shiva himself, and said, understood his mistake. Here also the Hamsa says to Brahma and Sanat Kumara, etc., that your question is irrelevant, because if you say from the point of view of Atman, we are all one. If from the viewpoint of view of this Deha, then we are made up of same Panchabhuta. So we are not distinct. So your question doesn't stand. First answer to the question, who are you, itself was full of philosophical truth, because who was asking the question is the Brahma, the conglomeration or combination of all minds, which the source of unity of all mind and intellect is Brahma. And Brahma's mind-born son, all Mahayogis, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara, for them to ask this question was irrelevant. And for them not to understand the Hamsa as a great wise person who has come to answer their question, that question was irrelevant. Instead of, they should have asked, we are having this question. I didn't have time. I couldn't fathom. I couldn't go to the root of the question and give them the answer. Can you help me to answer? Brahma should have said, instead of saying that, who are you? So first, this was the great jolt that Hamsa gave to this great wise wisdom, embodiment of wisdom and knowledge and Brahma Jnana. To them, this Hamsa replied this. Now he comes to the reply, the question before being even asked. They didn't even ask the question that had asked to Brahma, because Ishvara knows everything. What? Because he has come for this purpose. Brahma meditated because he couldn't reply satisfactory reply, couldn't go to the root of the question and reply. And Ishvara knows that that was the purpose he's coming. That's why he comes to answer that. And in the verse number verse number 24. Manasa vachasa drishtya grihatennairapindriyai ahameva namatonyat iti buddhyam buddhyadvamanjasa. So manasa vachasa drishtya. So someone is perceived by mind, by speech, expressed through speech, and perceived through sight. With grihate rapi indriya, and also his the whatever is perceived through other senses also. Grihate means is perceived through anne rapi indriya, he from with other senses also. What is that? Have you ever thought? He says that whatever you think and you see and you perceive through other senses, you express through a speech, Vatsasa. What is that? Have you ever thought? If you have thought this, you will find no difference in that. Ahameva namatto anyat iti buddhyadvamanjasa. Understanding this rightly, that by mind, speech, sight, and the other organs, I alone am cognized and nothing else. Here he reveals his true nature. Though he didn't say that time a question is irrelevant, now it comes the answer. Who are you? I alone am expressed and not cognized and nothing else. When you speak something, when you think something, when you perceive something with your sense organs, it is all I. Without me, there is nothing that exists. That's what is being said, because our sight perceive only the forms and color, and through our speech it is only sound, it is only the words that are expressed, and other senses like smell, we get the smell of the thing. By the power of smell we get the odor. So but here it says whatever you smell, whatever you know through smell, whatever you know through sound, you get through ear or see through your eyes and speak through your mouth, it is all me and nothing else. Here he says the great thing. Whatever you find in the world, there's nothing other than God. God is all pervading. God is the reality. It said in the Upanishad, that is very fundamental of Upanishad. So first, the what we perceive, it seems to be all different, but it all boils to be all creation of God. So in the Upanishad, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Whatever you see or touch or smell or desire, it's nothing but God. It is all God and nothing else. God appears in so many forms and so many with so many qualities. There is nothing else other than God. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Atma va iti Brahma. Atma eva Vedam Brahma. Atma eva idam Brahma. So everything is Atma, everything is Brahman, nothing else exists. Purusha eve dagam sarvam. Everything is Purusha, that supreme being. Yad bhutam, yad what has been, what will be, all is that Purusha. Nothing else you see, it is all God. So here he reveals his true nature. That all is created from God Himself, and God appears as this universe. So why are you worried about what your mind is thinking, what your objects are disturbing your mind? Mind gets attached to the objects. So this is not the thing that mm, that should give you trouble. That's what he says. So all is God. Try to defy the world. Try to see God in everything. Then you will not be disturbed by the objects. Desire will become powerless to disturb your mind, because mind gets disturbed when you take the thing in the world in their face value, but go to their intrinsic nature, go to their reality, go to their swarupa. You are only fixed on the rupa, how it appears, but what appears, what is the thing that has this rupa, what is the swarupa of this thing? If you go to swarupa, everything will boil down to Brahman or to Ishvara, to reality. I am that reality which appears as this world, says Krishna in the form of Hamsa in long ago in Satyayuga to Brahma and Sanaka brothers. So that is the thing first to understand. The problem was how to mm, make mind free from attachment, how to get rid of desires, how to get rid of attachment of liking and the trouble of like and dislike, envy, that thing, aversion. how to do that and how to get freed from attachment, liking, and get caught by. So he said, why you have to do that? Sri Ramakrishna often said, why are you troubled by the things of your mind? Give you turn to all your desires. He says you have that kama, krodha, etc. That six enemies. Why you treat them as enemies? Kama, krodha, lobha, moha. Don't think that all you turn to your all desires like those. You turn your mind, your karma, all karma towards God. That your desire is your to realize God, to know God, to love God. Only God becomes your center. And krodha, you become angry. Anger is there. Why to get angry on the things of the world or some person? Get angry on God. Why he is not revealing to me? Why he is not making my mind pure enough not to get attached to the objects? Get angry on God. So you turn to all your minds, all faculties, instead of going to the objects, bring them back and turn them towards Ishvara, towards God, toward your chosen ideal. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna also said. Here also, Sri Krishna, in the form of Hamsa, wants to impress upon Sanaka brothers and Brahma and whoever were questioning that it is all me. So, first is that there is nothing other than me. What you consider to be the sense objects or this world full of desires, your mind getting attached to the things, these are all nothing. Don't think that way. Everything is God. If we have to get attached to the world, don't get attached to the objects of the world. Get attached to its swarupa, its reality, its essence. And whatever essence is there, it is God. That's what it is said in that is beautifully like the ornaments and the gold. That example is given. When you see beautiful bracelet or wonderful necklace, so nice, you go and want to buy. What about this necklace? Oh no, no, that I don't like. Its design is not good. So this is wonderful. I like that. You dislike one and you like other. But what do you like? You actually are liking the ornament made of gold. What is the rupa? Rupa is this is your ornament necklace that you like its design. That like necklace you do not like that. You have dislike for that. Like and dislike. But the thing is not necklace. Thing is gold. See, if you have eyes to see gold in both ornaments, both type of ornaments, then your attachment and aversion, like and dislike will not be there, because as far as the value is concerned, it is not of the form, it is of the gold, of its essence. In Swarupa, they are all one. So that if you have eyes to see Swarupa, you will not be attracted. Suppose you buy the ornament and then after some time you want to sell it. You go to the jeweler, so you have to sell this ornament. Jeweler will see one necklace which is beautifully liked, another somehow you have got, someone has given you, it's not so like, you didn't like this shape or form or design. So you give to ornament, the jeweler will not see the design because he will have to melt it and make new ornaments from that. So he sees only as gold. For the jeweler, whatever you sell that person is only gold, because he's going to form and create another form from this gold. For him, there is no like and dislike. He sees the swarupa, essence of the ornament. Try to see the essence of this creation to all he's saying. Understand, try to understand all as God Himself. That is the essence of this whole creation. When you see things in swarupa form, in its real essence, your attachment will not be there. Neither there will be aversion, but you will be in the thought of God. So nothing can pollute your mind if you have trained your buddhi to see the essence of this universe and are not deviated or distracted by its form or its qualities. Those are all external things. In essence, everything is Satchit Ananda. Everything is joyful. All externally like taken things that way. For example, someone wears the tiger skin. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gita, in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So one person wanted to scare the children, and he put on the tiger skin, and he came halum halum he came. So all children were scared. But one child was there, Haru. No, the child was there. He was wise. He knew that this person, he could find out that it's not tiger. How it can come in the home? He had little faculty of understanding, discerning. So he said, uh, "How can tiger enter? So this doesn't look like tiger." So then it says, "Haru, oh, this is our Haru." So when he understood that, then there was no fear. All fear was gone, all hatred was gone. If then he sees a Haru, and then he laughs and he removes the tiger skin and takes that boy in his lap. So, like that is this world created with Maya. Maya itself is maybe unreal or Ajnana Prasuta, born of ignorance. But the essence of Maya is God Himself. It is all Satchidananda. It is Krishna Himself. I have become that. That's why I say sight, the other organs. I alone am cognized and nothing else. Whatever you perceive is God alone and nothing else. You first cognize God. Very perception is God, divine. And after that, you start perceiving. Without God, there is no power to perceive something. The power that is given to your mind to perceive something is the power given by God. And what you perceive is also by the power of God, and perception itself is divine. But what you perceive, on that depends the reality and unreality. If you are wise, you will, through the power of perception, you will understand all this is divine. If you are unwise, then you will perceive the perception, then also you will say it is likable, it is dislikable, this is the good person, this is bad person. All is because of your ignorance that you divide the world. But very idea of perception itself proves that I am there. That's why Upanishad says, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. God, where is God? Where is Brahman? It is imperceptible. You cannot see the Brahman. So God is not there. Some people said, where is God? Give the proof of God. So mythological stories are there. So Prahlada was asked by Hiranyakashipu, you say God is everywhere. Is God in this pillar? He said, yes, God is everywhere. He has to be in the pillar also. Definitely he is there. Anywhere it is there. So he said, then he breaks and Nrisimha comes. That is to prove that God is there everywhere. To Prahlada, the concrete way to prove. But what Upanishad says is Prativodha Biditam. Every perception proves that there is that reality by which we perceive the thing, we understand the thing. With the buddhi goes, and who understands that? It is all our atma finally understands. The jivatma that understands. Without jivatma there, we will not understand, perceive anything. The all sensation will come, sense objects, sense organs will be active, brain will be active, mind will be working, and then buddhi will come. But if there is no Jivatma, dead body, nothing will understand, because there is no Jivatma, there is no Brahman, there is no reality, there is no Swarupa. That's why through every perception it is proven that there is that reality which is Sakshi Chaitanya Swarupa, which is the consciousness and witness consciousness. It is understanding, watching, present everywhere, always alert, always never sleeping. Consciousness is that Sakshi Chaitanya Swarupa, that is our nature. That is Krishna. That's why he says, through every perception, it is proven that I alone am there. Let's go to next verse. Guneshwa vishate cheto gunaschetashisa prajaha जीवस्य देह उभयम गुणाश्चेतो madatmana. Yes, my sons, praja means that. Yes, my sons, the mind is at, you see the question that they didn't ask to Hamsa, they had asked to Brahma. And this question is not related to Hamsa, but he knows what was the question because he was invited to answer this. And here it says, yes, my sons, the mind is attached to the sense objects. Yes, that is true. Because both are made up of similar things. Same Panchabhuta makes the mind, same Panchabhuta makes the objects. Sense objects are gross and the mind is subtle. Senses are also subtle. But they are made of everything is made up of same Panchabhuta. So they will have attraction towards each other because the source is same, their manufacturing same, and also they are Trigunatmika. three types of attributes, three type of qualities are there in all. So they attract each other. So my son, the mind is attached to the sense objects, and the sense objects influence the mind. There is that relationship. What your question was very pertinent, very important, that sense objects will influence the mind, and mind has this impression or like and dislike for the sense objects. What is the world? What is mind at all? Mind is all when it is connected to the sense objects, then it is mind. One beautiful talk is there by Swami Priyananda. No mind. When mind has no desire for anything, the mind is no mind. Mind doesn't act there. It is a functionless mind, is no mind at all. Mind is always with some function, with some desire, with some like, dislike, and all that. So that is what the mind is. Somehow it gets attached to the what is sense objects? The whole world in front of his sense objects. Nothing but it is the object. The creation, whole creation is the objects whose information is brought by the senses. That's why objects are the like the prey and the animal. These are like the thing that the mind goes and catches. Mind takes the form. That is what the objects are. According to Hindu psychology, Vedantic psychology, our mind through our sense organs goes to the objects and takes the form of that object. Mind itself gets color and form of the sense objects, and it changes itself into that thing. So mind gets colored by the sense objects. When it gets colored by the sense objects, then through its samskara, the impression what it had in the previously, with that it has liking or disliking. Raga and dvesa, this mind's thing are there. Either it likes something or dislikes something, and both are because of the impurity of the mind being colored. If mind would not color by this sense object, would not be influenced by this sense object, would be neutral to all what you see, neither it has attraction nor none it has this aversion for the sense object, then that mind will not give trouble. That mind will be no mind, which is not attached. It has no any desire. The objects do not come to the mind, and objects do not disturb the mind. Mind is free from the impressions of sense objects. So that mind is no mind. That type of mind is what dwells in God. In that mind is the image of God prevails. Otherwise, in our mind, all the time, this image, that image, when you sit for meditation, so many thoughts come. Thought of our office, our children, or that, because our mind has got the impression of our whatever we like. That impression is there. Whatever we hate, bigger and more prominent impression of hatred in the mind. So mind is all has been colored and has the impression about that thing. So this mind gives trouble during meditation. When the mind has become neutral, no attachment, it says that mind has nothing to do with my world. I have then that mind is colored by God, by Brahman. And while meditating, when the thought of Brahman comes, maybe during the meditation, thought of your child, your son, daughter, parents, all may come, or your office, or anything may come. But immediately, because the thought of God is more prevalent, immediately they all will be seen as what Sri Krishna said, it is I who have become all. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. That mind will not be disturbed because there is no attachment and aversion to anything. Thoughts may come, but they just go like the scenery, and it won't disturb your meditation. Rather, whatever thought comes will make your meditation more stronger. Suppose you think of your son during your meditation. Son will immediately become Brahman, manifestation of God. So God, my Ishta, is appearing in front of Son, and the Son becomes one with Brahman. He becomes one with Atman, and your meditation is strengthened. Your focus is not deviated by because you thought of Son. The problem is that desires also, they say, is not the problem that come through the mind, because mind and desires are connected. Mind cannot remain without desires or without a sense of impression of sense object. The problem is holding on to some desires. If they pass through the mind, there's no problem. Then they don't create any problem. They come and go. You are still focusing on the object of meditation. But when you hold on something, suddenly you are meditating, someone comes to your mind who had been not good to you in your office, your colleague. And then your mind gets attached to that. You start thinking of that. You said, "Oh, this person did that to me. My promotion was stopped because of that, stalled because of that thing." And all your mind, which was thinking of your Ishta, just because that thought came, your mind jumped and just held on to that. And your mind is deviated instead of thinking that, because of our clinging to the thoughts that come. So if thoughts come and go, then there is no clinging and there is no disturbance, because thoughts may come. Let them come and go. Don't hold on to any thought. Don't cling to any thought. If we can practice that, not to cling to thought, then there will be meditation will be good. That's what the mind's power is. Sri Krishna says here that guna, this mind and the sense objects, guna means sense objects, are there interconnected. There is no doubt. Let us see what he says. Jivasya deha ubhayam gunas cheto madatmanah. Thus the sense objects and the mind both intertwined. They are interconnected. They will not be separated. From their intertwined form the body of the jiva. New thing he says. Who is ever identified with me? So here comes three things. One is four things: mind, sense objects, jiva, body. Jiva and me, Ishvara. And he says this mind and sense objects there which are intertwined, they are the body of the Jiva. Jiva is our own Atman appearing as a Jiva Atma. Hmm? The body is mind and sense objects. But the Jiva is identical with me. This is what it is said here. Jiva who is ever identified with me. Jiva is me, not and this mind and sense object that the mind creates, this intertwining, this connected together. It covers the jiva. It is not the part of the jiva. Jiva is pure, ever dissociated, ever detached from this mind and senses. He doesn't go how to purify the mind. He says, deny the mind and sense objects as you. Don't identify with them. See them as as the body of jiva, as your body and soul are different. Here, this wise person, they already have differentiated body and soul. Atman is not the body. Body is anatma and soul is atma. So identify Atma like that. You identify sense objects and the mind as the body of the Jiva, and you are the Jiva one with me, identical with me. So where is that disturbance? That the body and that the mind and sense objects they play with each other, but you remain vigilant, you remain witness consciousnness, you remain identified with the Atman, with me, and don't get disturbed by what the mind and body are doing. As Swami Sri Ramakrishna also said, and Mahapurush Maharaj used to often say, "Shorir jane আর দুঃখ জানে মন তুমি আনন্দে থেকো." Hmm. Body will have pain. Now this they will take care of itself. Don't mind, don't bother on the pain. Oh, what I have pain. You are not the body. You are mind, and you are the one whom I connect. You can remain in happiness. Why you bother when body is suffering? You are not suffering. It is body which has disease. It's body which has asthma. Why do you suffer? You remain happy. You try to remain in that Brahman, in the thought of Satchidananda. Then body and mind, let them take care of itself. There is disease, body suffering, that there be. But you don't get attached to suffering body. Don't think I am suffering, but rather you be attached to Brahman and be happy. Want to be Anande Thako. That he said. And it is because Ananda is our Swarupa. This mind is like mind is like something that gets attached to whatever you want to attach. So if it get attached to something painful, something jealous, something unreal, so we become like that. If we get attached to something that joyful, thinks of some purity, some reality, it thinks, so it becomes light, bright, like that. So like that, here also Sri Krishna says, let them take care. It's not you. It is mind and the sense objects. Why do we bother for that? More from a Vedantic point of view, not how to purify the mind. Let mind, whatever is, if it is purified, it can get rid of all sense objects. That is fine, but it's very difficult to get rid of all sense objects. Sri Ramakrishna saying was, give you turn to your mind. This will be there, but don't take that to something that is attractive in the world. World's attraction is only when you think that is attractive. It is ephemeral. There's no real joy in the world. It is all temporary. Why you are get caught with that? So rather go to someone that is permanent, that is really joyful, that is the essence of yourself, that is the source of all the joys. So rather get there. You can't you understand? You are not fool. So Sri Krishna says, for the people who cannot understand the nature of this creation, like moodha, like foolish, can't understand the nature of creation. It is for the temporary thing. For the time being, it is there. You have been born and you will die. You have seen all your parents, grandparents, they were born and they die. And you are also born and die. It is a temporary thing. Why do you get caught by that? So understand that thing. So you are the Atman, you are the source of all joy, and you are permanent. Understand that. Don't be bothered by how mind behaves. If you can get rid of your attachment to the mind or identification with the mind, then you can think of, you can realize your true self and be with the identified with the self or jiva. So jivasya deha ubhayam, both are the body of the jiva. New concept, body of the jiva. Jiva also has body. Actually, it's our body too. This mind we call sukshma sharira, subtle body. Subtle body of what? Of our jiva. Who we are? We are jiva, jivatma. Our subtle body is the mental body. Sthula body is this physical body. And causal body is karana sarira, still subtle. Still, it is also material, also made of 5 matters. But it is not much talked about because it is beyond our mind, mental perception to reach there. Causal body becomes active when mind doesn't work. Otherwise, in this Jagrat avastha, it is all mind is working. And sense objects of this perception, sense perception, they affect the mind as it works. Then another stage is called sushupti, swapna avastha, dream. In dream, only mind is acting. There is no jagrat avastha. There is no sense objects as such. All those sense objects are created by mind, and there is all play as we have here in the waking state. Things coming, I like this, I don't like that, such desires being fulfilled, something fearful, all things are created there. Tiger, lion, aeroplane, it may be created anything. You can become king, whatever is there, it can be there. But all that creation is not creation of God, it's creation of your own mind. Mind becomes active and it takes whole stage of the our dream world. And in Sushupti, that mind also doesn't work. The Jagratopsa, this created, Brahma created world doesn't work. And this mind created Swapna also doesn't work. What works there in Sushupti? Their only causal body is active there. And the causal body, it doesn't think. It is no, it is beyond the mental body. That sukshma is part of karana sarira, is also part of one of the three bodies that jiva has. But it's very uh, because no mind works there, you cannot understand karana sarira. What is karana sarira? It is the cause of all these three bodies. But what? How do you know it is there? Through its effect. Karana sarira is that when you have ceased to give the functionality to mind also. And why do, I mean, Susupti, there is no mind. What is there in Susupti? What is there? We cannot say because mind is not there. What you experience? Nothing I can say. There is, as it is said, there you experience the nothingness of the perception. Hmm? There is thing, but you worship the absence of perception there. You don't perceive anything. Neither the mind made created world of dream, nor the God created world of waking state, but you perceive the nothingness there. How do you know that? Because when I wake up, I say, I perceive nothing. Then it might be nothing there. How do you say you perceived? I know nothing of that. So you perceived nothingness. You perceived nothingness. Thing was there, where perception was not there. How do you know thing was there? The reality was there. Your Atman was there. Witness consciousness was perceiving. Actually, all these three stages are perceived by the witness consciousness. Jagrata Avastha, as Sri Krishna said, I am there in every perception. In dream also, it is the witness consciousness that perceives the dream. And in deep sleep also, witness consciousness is there, which is perceiving the deep sleep when mind is not working. He is there. That Atman is there. It cannot be annihilated. And it says, I feel so happy. How do you feel happy? How do you feel so that happiness is more than the joy of having a nice dream? In dreams, sometimes you get joy, happiness is there. In waking state, some desires fulfilled. There's so much happiness. You get the jackpot of $10 million. What a joyful day! The best joyful day in my life, like that thing. In dream, you become a king, and there are subordinates, and they listen to you, and things are going on. What a joyful dream! What is dream in dreamless sleep? What is that joy? That joy is being in closeness to the Atman, to the reality. Without your knowledge, with the tamoguna prevailing, but you are closer to the Atman. Only that wall is there, you cannot touch the Atman because the wall of tamoguna is there. And every perception, every action is seized, stopped, annihilated. And there you perceive that thing, and that's why you come back and say, I perceive nothing, but it feels so fresh, so joyful. I had a good sleep. We often say that I have very nice sleep. That how do we know that it was nice sleep and I feel fresh? That its after effect is there. As dreams, after effect is there in the waking state also. Sometimes you feel someone has died and you feel afraid. Oh, what happened? Let me see. Let me. Swami Vivekananda, he wanted to know about his mother when he before coming to the West. And then something I saw in dream or something. Then he went to an astrologer there in South India. He went to astrologer, and astrologer, he says, very accomplished astrologer. He could bring the flowers, rose flowers, with dew drops on that in season that there was no rose blooming season. That was the magician. So he went like that thing, and the astrologer, he mm, asked about who his mother, all the questions they asked, and then he said, "No, she is fine. Don't worry for her." He said, Swamiji believed that. Though he didn't believe in this astrology and all that, he often said this wearing rings and all this astrology are often reflect the weakness of the mind. But sometimes some Manishan comes, he's going to the West, he's very loving to his mother. Yeah. He had something wrong he thought of or something he had in the dream. So he will be concerned with that. So let me ask. So he believed in the sense he wanted to know. He was a little worried with the dream. So sometimes dream we don't know. Sometimes real thing also happens in the dream. Sometimes they say it is what you think in the waking stage it is a dream, but he wants to be clear with that, and that's how it was clear. So we say that we had all this stage. Deha gunebhyasya to mad atmana. The jiva who is ever identified with me. Jiva is mat atmana. Who is atman? Who is your being? It is mat atmana, my atman. It is not your atman. It is God's atman. Mat atmana. Because atman is God himself. And we are that. Tattvamasi. We are not anything that is separate from God. We are that pure, perfect being. We are that Satchidananda Swarupa as the Brahman is. We are that Brahman. And that Brahman is God. We are that God, says Sri Krishna here. Tries to make them feel the reality. If we can connect yourself to the reality, to your Swarupa, all these worries of mind getting connected with the objects influencing the mind, this all trouble will go. Where he went in the root of this trouble, you see, that's what our Sri Krishna said in the form of Hamsa. Let us go to next verse number 26. गुणेषु च विषच्चित्तम् अवीक्षणं गुणसेवया गुणस्य चित्तप्रभवां प्रभवां प्रभवां तद्रूप ubhayam त्यजेत. The mind which through constant dwelling on sense objects is attached to them, and the sense objects which influence the mind. One should give up both being identified with me. He elaborates his previous verse that mind and sense objects, they are all connected to each other. Mind has impressions of sense objects in the mind. All whatever we do work like that. This is sense objects are the thing that it is of the karma and guna and jati. Guna, jati, and karma, that makes the sense objects. Whatever we think they're different from us, all are sense objects. All our relations are objects of experience. All are sense objects. So that disturbs the mind. It creates the subtle impression in the mind, and they influence the mind. And also mind is full of those impressions, so they are really connected. So that's why it says the mind which through constant dwelling on sense objects is attached to them. So here he says, what is the problem with mind? Dhyayato Vishayan Pungsa Sangasteshu Upajayate. Why I get so much attachment to the thing? Why I am attached to this house, money, or my own, whom I call my own son, or something that I lost and I cannot forget that? Why I am attached to that? Where the source of attachment? Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Dhyayato Vishayan. When you dwell on them, meditate on them, think more about them, the more thinking of the sense objects brings attachment to them. And that is the problem with our mind. And whatever you like, you tend to think more about that. And if you say, why do I like this? There is no reason. Why do I think more of this? If you go deeper, I don't find any reason. Just I like that. Why do I like? I have no reason. So, like that thing, the mind starts thinking more deeply on some objects, objects of perception, objects of enjoyment, anything can be there. When mind thinks, you try, you get attached to that. And if it is objects of enjoyment, you want to procure that, find that out in your life and enjoy again. If it is an object of that you want to possess, you try to get that because of thinking. And if you don't get the object that you liked and wanted so much, dhyayato vishayan pungsa, by thinking. That's why if we let go the thought, if we don't hold on to the thought that comes to the mind, then there is no problem. But this thinking and clinging to the thought, vishayan pungsa sangaste supajayate, attachment will come. Attachment means aversion also will come. Aversion is greater attachment, more thoughts about the thing that we hate and dislike, more stronger thoughts on that. So, sangasteshu upajayate, sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate. From this attachment comes strong desire to gain that experience of enjoyment, or to have repeat the experience of enjoyment, or to possess that thing, that is called kama, lust, strong desire to have that. Just by what? Because of your thinking, getting attached to that. Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate. When the desire to enjoy that object or possess that object or gain that object has become in such a great powerful state of the mind, then result is anger, he says. Anger. Anger is bad thing. Why is it anger? Maybe you go for to obtain that, go to experience that, go to enjoy that. But Shankara, Sri Krishna doesn't say we go to enjoy, we'll get to that. But ultimately, even if you get that, so there is no that joy forever. There is a temporary joy. The joy, they say, by gaining the thing, getting the thing that you wanted, strong desire. I wanted to build a two-storied house, and with all the desire you build, and then you are happy. But for how long you are happy? For few days, 1 week, 1 month, then desire finished. Then it become common possession to you. Then why did I feel happy? The Hindu psychology said, not the double-storied house made you happy actually. What made you happy was cessation of desire. Now you don't desire two-storied house. The desire is gone and you're happy. The cause of problem was not house, not having two-storied house. Problem was desire. If you can get rid of desire or have no desire to have second-storied house, you are already happy. One person has great desire to make the second two-storied house and he makes the house and happy. Another person had no desire to make the house two-storied house. He has one-storied house. He's happy. He's happy always there because there is no such desire. The problem is desire to the mind. So that's why always desires are not fulfilled. There are so many, one after another comes. If I have two-storied house, then it comes, it should be like that. I have only in here in Connecticut, whatever, having a nice house in New York, a big place, then such desires come. There's no end of desires. Having one house in Florida, another in Paris. So if you are a rich man, there is no end. There's, it will not be fulfilled. Desires are like the seven jars of gold. Not all seventh jar will not be fulfilled. It is the unfulfilling jar of gold. You have story, know the seven stories, seven jars in the gospel. It is the Kathamrita. It is there. You have, remember, know that? You don't. Okay, later on I'll tell you story. No time. I told you in the class once. So seven jars are the things. Sri Ramakrishna story. So, like that is the desires, but to not have the desire is the main thing. And when desire is not fulfilled, the anger comes. When anger comes, krodhat bhavati sammoha. When anger comes, you are not in yourself. You have changed. You have been deluded. You don't know what to do and what not to do, what is right and what is not right. All viveka is gone. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibrama. You forget. Anger makes one forget. You should not have told this thing to that person. But I was angry. I didn't know what to say. Like that, in anger, mouth comes something, some action happened without even your control. Because you are now not controlled by yourself. You are controlled by the thing called anger. Now the anger totally it makes a hold of yours, and then it abducts you. The anger. Krodhat bhav sammohat smriti, forget, smriti bhramsad buddhina. So now your intellect is not working, what to do, what to say, nothing is there. You are in a different world, different mood. You are shaking, trembling, sweating, all this. When I will see this person, why he said that to me, why she did sit to that to me, all this jealousy, anger, hatred, all come because of this anger. And when anger finishes your buddhi, when your buddhi is not active, then what happens? Buddhi nasar pranasati. You are not the human being. You are sarvanas. From human, nice, wonderful human being, you have become asura, rakshasa. You find so many things being done, horrible things being done through anger. So that's how desire is the root, he says. Here also he says, Sri Krishna says the same thing. The mind which through constant dwelling on sense objects is attached to them, and the sense objects which influence the mind. So they are made for each other. Is it not made for each other? These mind and sense objects are made for each other. Don't go there. Oh, Shankaracharya says in Vivek Chudamani, very nice verse is there. Hmm. Vyagrajalam Maharanyam Chitta Brahmana Karanam. So this big forest is there, and there is one tiger sprawling, walking there. Those who are wise should not go because the tiger will sprawl you. What is the tiger? Mind. Your mind, not trained, untrained mind, that will eat you up. You will not remain same. Vyagrajalam Maharanyam Chitta Brahmana Karanam. Only chitta will be disturbed by that tiger. So the tiger is the combination of mind, and when there is mind, there is objects. Mind, mostly some objects will be there. So don't go there. Gunasa chitta prabhavam adrupa ubhayam tajet. Now Sri Krishna says that which influence each other. The mind influence the mind. As a sense object influence the mind. One should give up both, being identified with me. So he doesn't say how to make mind pure, repeat my name, be devoted to God, do more japam, do more meditation. He doesn't say that. He comes straight from the Vedantic, Advaita Vedanta point of view. Reject both as being you. You don't own mind, you don't own the sense objects. Let them go with each other. You be with me. You be always identified with me. Think of me always. Think of your true nature as me. So don't be connected with the mind. Disconnect with this mind and sense object business. It is not of your business. When you can disconnect from the business of sense objects and the mind and are connected with me, then only you can get rid of this. So no worries will come. How can mind be freed from sense objects? They are so disturbing. Don't go that way at all. Turn your road. Don't go towards the mind. Know that mind is not you. Is made up of panchabhuta. It is all as the panchabhuta objects are made. So that is different thing. So what Sri Krishna tries to hear is Atma Anatma Viveka. All that you perceive, Drik Drishya Viveka, all this is Drishya. Don't be caught by the Drishya. You are Drik, you are the seer, you are the Atman, you are the blissful being. So try to discern the Drishya from Drik, identify with Drik, and never get caught in the realm of Drishya. All this Anatma is alluding to each other. Don't go on that. So identify with the reality. Very Vedantic. Bhagavatam is known to be so much this thing, Bhakti Grantha, isn't it? Bhakti Grantha. But how much Vedanta is there in Bhagavatam? So Bhagavatam, particularly this Ekadasa Skanda Bhagavatam, where Uddhava Gita comes, so many Vedantic stories. There are many Vedantic stories in Bhagavatam. Devahuti Kapila Samvada. That's very Vedantic teaching of Kapila Rishi to his mother Devahuti. That is also in Bhagavatam. There are the many, now and then in Uddhava Gita, so many things Sri Krishna says of the Vedantic teaching. Yes, please. Can I take a question? Yeah, let me conclude this and then we'll take the question. Closing chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padpadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur. Good night to everyone.
Why did you tell them that story that the 7 jars ago the haunted tree?